How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And today we are going to get into The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 1, Episode 2. And the title of this episode is Who's There? I know I'm a few days out. Actually, the newest episode, I believe, is going to be on AMC Plus the day after the recording of this video. So today is Wednesday. I believe the new episodes come out on Thursday on AMC Plus, and then they come on like regular Showtime on Sundays if you are a cable watcher. So, I wanted to just make this video because I didn't get around to it. I've been so busy with work and other things. So we're gonna do it now. Hopefully, it's not too late. I'm gonna try to do what I was trying to do last time. I don't think you guys saw. I wanted to go through like the episode, kind of stop on different segments, kind of give you my thoughts on things that happened. Maybe different characters that come into the fold, things like that. I'm gonna try to attempt this. If not, I might have to do it a whole other way. Maybe do it like I did last time, show some pictures. But I want to do kind of like a screen share so you guys can see what I'm doing and try to do a little bit of my reviews like that. But anyway, with that being said, if you're new here, if you wouldn't mind liking this video, subbing to the channel, we do all kinds of content, including Walking Dead. A big Walking Dead fan here, so I was really excited for this show. So if you like any things like that, any horror related things, gaming, TV shows, films of any kind, you come to the right place for it. So anyway, with that being said, enough introduction. Let's get into The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 1, Episode 2. All right, so like I said in my intro, I want to try to do this in a way where you can kind of see what I'm going through each section of the video of the episode. I kind of go through and stop at certain points. It's been a few days since I watched it, but I have a pretty decent recollection of what transpired in the episode. So we're kind of just gonna go through and really just give you my thoughts. And really, the first thing I wanted to start off with was, let me see if I can play it a little bit here. Um, let's see. There it is. There's a scene. Did I miss it already? Let me see. By the way, stick with me here. AMC Plus is very, very. It's hard to like go to like scenes that you want to see, and I'm trying not to also get like copyrighted on. Okay, so it's right here. Actually, I think it's. Actually, I went back a little too far. Sorry if you heard my phone go off. There's a scene that show. It's like directly from like The Walking Dead season one. I think it might be right here. Let's see. So black screen. Hold on. Okay, so we'll stop right here, and I'll see. I don't know how good you guys can see it. It looks good on my end. So, with the hands coming through the door like this, I thought that was very reminiscent of season one Walking Dead, where Rick he wakes up in the hospital and he sees the fingers coming through the door. I love that scene in The Walking Dead. It's one of my favorite shots with the doors that don't open dead inside or don't dead open inside. It depends on how you read it. Um, so you got to read it from like don't open dead inside, right? You got both doors. I thought this was very reminiscent of that. I thought that was a really neat callback if that's what they were doing. And as you can see, the scene goes on for a little bit, and it's very reminiscent. And you see Negan and Maggie, and they're looking at the door the way Rick was in the first season, the first episode. So that was a really cool callback, and I like it when they do things like that. But where this episode starts off is pretty much exactly where the last one left off. Where essentially Negan and Maggie they go into this building. They're running from the marshal at this point. You know the marshal's incapacitated at this point. They've already run into him. They're running. They go into this building and there's this lady in there, right? And you don't really know who this lady is. She looks real nasty. You know, kind of looks like she's not very well taken care of. But she, as the last episode ended, you see her blow out the candle. It gets like pitch black, and then it opens up where they are pretty much following this lady now, and so you kind of see them chase after this lady, and they're having to climb up an elevator shaft. I thought this was a good scene right here. Um, that was a funny line by Negan, like, yeah, sure, this looks safe or something like that. And so like they're following after this lady, and the lady's doing all these acrobatics and stuff, and um, I thought that was a really good scene. It was somewhat intense. The intense part really was Maggie. She was getting up the ladder and she looked like that she wasn't going to be able to make it. Obviously, she probably would be because I mean, come on, this is her show with Negan. So let's see. I'm trying to let the episode go a little bit. So now this is where things get kind of crazy. Is that they get to the top of this building and they're still trying to follow this lady and she like goes across this um, line like kind of like where it's like traversal. Get on the line. She goes across to the other building, and Negan and Maggie want to follow after. Obviously, Maggie doesn't want to go first. Negan's like, ladies first. Maggie's like, nah, you're good. And so he goes across. Now the part that comes up next is so now Maggie has got to go across as she is here, and like the thing that I'm getting like just so frustrated with, right? Because if you keep watching this scene, right, and you look at like Negan's face, right? So here she is. She can't make it all the way to the other side of the building. And you see Negan right here. We'll keep playing it until we get to that point. I'm sorry for keep pausing it, but you see Negan right here. Like Negan actually genuinely looks worried, like she's about to fall, like she's about to fall. And this kind of brings me to something that I've had a frustration with is like you'll see throughout this episode and the episode before that, like Maggie is still throwing like the whole Glenn thing in her face. Like Maggie keeps throwing that whole Glenn thing in Negan's face, and it's one of those things like at this point, right? They have to work together because they're dealing with a situation that they both need each other's skills to accomplish. But yet Maggie is still very untrustworthy and doesn't want to depend on him. But see, my thing is this: like when she's about to fall right here, she has to depend on him, right? Like let's say if she's about to fall, who's she gonna try to? She's gonna try to grab onto Negan's hand, right? Like I don't think she would risk dying over over just like okay, well I don't like this guy, I don't want him to save me. I think the really what I'm trying to get across here, and this is a very uncut video by the way. I'm not really going to try to edit and take too much stuff out, but my thing is I just don't feel like Maggie's really had a whole lot of character development really for the past 3 years or so. I think she's been very very samey to me. This whole like just this attitude towards Negan, which I understand. I understand it, but the fact she keeps throwing it in his face, he's trying to help her. He's not the issue here. It's just very I don't know. Frustrating is a hard word because I understand. By the way, sick ass intro. I didn't really get to show this last time when we did a video, but I dig the intro. I like it a lot. If you guys ever played the Walking Dead VR game, Saints and Sinners, it kind of has a very Saints and Sinners vibe to this, and I really 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 like the aesthetic. I think it looks cool. It's very it's very samey like the other Walking Dead intro for the original show, but I really dig this here. So anyway, let's kind of get moving because we kind of been on the beginning part. So this right here, this kind of looks like if you guys remember Terminus from the original Walking Dead um, show. This looks very much like Terminus, like this building. I remember this. Like I don't know. I guess I'm gonna call it a chimney, but it's probably something else. But this piece right here, I remember that from Terminus. It might be. This might be the set of Terminus. Obviously, they have to reuse different sets and things like that. So I don't know. I don't know what all is from the original Walking Dead and what's really new for this show. But this looks very, very Terminus to me. And this is the new Hilltop. But what I'm having a hard time with, and maybe one of you guys can help me here. I don't know where this is located. The way they shot it in like episode one, it seems like this is not too far from where they are currently. So that means the hilltop has moved north, right? Because they were in Virginia in the original show. So I'm a little confused as to where this is at. Maybe it's still in Virginia. So that could be it. You got old. So Negan was with the girl in the first episode. She's a mute. She's trying to fit in with the other kids at the the hilltop. I hope I said the hilltop earlier. The new hilltop. But yeah, you see, like one thing I was mentioning to the wife when I was watching it with her is it like you see a little bit of this in The Walking Dead, but you really see it on here. They really are trying to bring as much like like regular day-to-day human stuff now into the Walking Dead universe because you're this far into it. You have to have that a little. And so you got here, I mean, this is like straight up a classroom, desk and all. Like this is straight up like classroom. Now, I think they're learning survival techniques, which is really cool. Like, and it's a good detail, right? Because if the world reset, right? Like think about all the things in the school system now they're teaching kids, and it's like, okay, not to say that stuff's not important, but survival, like teaching them about survival and different wrappings like for wounds and things like that. Because I think that's what this class is like wounds, right? Like dressing wounds and stuff. That's really, really good information, especially in a world like this where you literally have a zombie trying to eat your leg every 5 seconds. So anyway, so we'll skip ahead. Let's see. So this is the lady they were chasing after. Um, she she reminds me of somebody, but I don't. I'm having a hard time putting my finger on it. But they find her. They give her a little bit of food. Um, well, Negan gives her some food because Negan seems to like have like a little bit of a soft spot for her, and I don't really know the reason for that. Um, the fact that she's old, maybe. Um, so Negan is trying to find a way to see if I believe in this part right here, he's trying to find a way to get to the main building where the Croat is because as we talked about in the last episode, and if you've been watching this far, the Croat was a former savior. He knows Negan, and so that's why Negan's even on this trip with Maggie. That Maggie feels like Negan can do some negotiating to get her son back. So they got to head over there to where the black smoke is at, and she's telling she can't really speak English, and this is a funny line by Negan right here. I don't know what she's speaking. I don't know what language it is. So again, tell me. But you see Negan right there, like he's act like he's listening, and he says that his he says he's a little rusty with his, and I don't know what she might be speaking Spanish. I don't know, but I don't remember. But he's like, I'm a little rusty on that, but I'm pretty much just translation for no freaking way. And I thought that was pretty good. I wish they would have said fucking though right there, man. Like the Walking Dead and AMC products as a whole, projects as a whole, excuse me, is they have let the F word loose a little bit, but I feel like with Negan, you gotta let that loose a bit. So, but I thought that was a funny uh, interaction there. Um, let's see what we got here. Let me pause this. We'll go a little bit farther. So, all right. So now you see the marshal. He's back up. He's breathing. Obviously, he wasn't dead, and we knew that. Honestly, and this is something that keeps happening in The Walking Dead, where they always have these like. I'm sorry, I keep hitting my microphone. They always have these like minor conveniences, like realistically, right? When you're watching this, and you've seen The Walking Dead so many times, you know this world, you know this show. You would kill the marshal right here. You wouldn't let him live because now, I mean, the guy's gonna have a vengeance, and you already have a bigger problem in the Croat, and so now the marshal is just gonna be an extra threat that you have to deal with. All right, skip ahead. Okay, so Negan and Maggie they run into these group of survivors in the building that they went to, and they are with the older lady here. And at first, the survivors think that Negan and Maggie are um, part of the Croats squad, which is understandable. But Maggie tells them some fib right here that this screams lying. Like I think what she said, I forgot what Negan says. Negan says something like they're just passing through, and then Maggie says something about we have a boat that we pulled up in, and then we got to leave on or something like that. And Negan right here just knows that they're not going to fall for that, and they don't. They It's a lie, plain as day, and you can tell the disappointment in Negan's face right here. I like this weapon. I know that's kind of not what I was talking about, but I like this weapon. It's like a drill or like a nail gun almost, but it has like attachments on it. Very very post apocalyptic. Reminds me of like if you guys played Far Cry New Dawn. Kind of reminds me of those types of weapons. So that's pretty cool. Like to be at this point in the apocalypse, right? You gotta have to have different weapons. You can't always have just your normal guns, right? That's just not gonna happen. Anyway, we'll skip ahead a little bit. So they get held captive. Obviously, they can't be trusted. You don't know who they're working for, which is understandable. This is a good flashback. No, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong thing. This is not a flashback. I think the flashback is coming. That's the girl that Negan was taking care of. Let me see if I can skip ahead. All right, so here's the flashback right here. So here's the flashback with Herschel, and Herschel is having some issues. Like I think he's what I'm understanding from this scene is he's um he doesn't want to go to school, right? Like his whole thing is, and it's weird because it's understandable, but you'd also think he's being a little bit of a shit. But his whole thing is like, why do I need to be in school when I'm just gonna die anyway? And I think he's kind of like in this state of I know how the world is, and us learning these things is not going to help me, so I'm going to skip school because he's like skipping school. He's not associating himself with other kids. He's being very very to himself, and Maggie is getting worried with that, which is understandable. So, but I thought that was good just to fill in the blanks. And what I hope is that as the show goes on, not just this flashback, but I hope they'll have more flashbacks between Negan and Maggie. Give me some Negan stuff. I would like to see some like as we learn more about the Croat, I would like to see Negan and the Croat get some good flashback sequences to really show me like maybe they had like a closer relationship than what we think they did. This is one of my favorite scenes of the whole episode. Whole episode. I'm gonna kind of skip through this because I don't want this part going too long. But essentially, Negan opens up to Maggie right here about the Croat, how he knows him, how he brought him into the Saviors. Really, really good stuff. Great acting by Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan as Maggie. And I like the backstory here, and that's why I go back to what I was saying about the flashbacks. I think a flashback would be great to show Negan and the Croat collaborate in a physical sense, not just from the words that Negan is telling here. I don't know if they'll have enough time for it. I think this show's only 6 episodes, and so only have 4 episodes left of the first season. But I really like this part, and he's opening up about where he found him and all the things that transpired for him to get kicked out the Saviors. But I go back to what I was saying towards the beginning of the video about Maggie, right? Maggie is still throwing the whole look. One of the lines she says in this interaction is, "Oh look, a monster teaching a monster," and Negan immediately gets defensive, like, "No, no, that's not how it was. I was only a monster when I was trying to prove a point. When I was up to my dramatics, I was not a monster. Who's not a monster?" And I think that's begs the question for this and for the whole idea of this show and really The Walking Dead in general, right? Like who's really the monster here? There's no one really a monster. It's what you consider, right? It's your opinion, but no one's a monster in this world. And so I like this scene. I like how defensive Negan got here because it felt very believable, felt very natural. Because Maggie just keeps throwing shit in his face. Negan's trying to open up about the whole situation, who they're dealing with, and she still cannot help herself to interject and be like, "Well, you were this and you were that," and I don't know, like that's the one thing right now that I'm worried about with this show is the same circus act that we have of with Maggie being the way she is to Negan and Negan and Maggie being at odds. Obviously, they're never going to be friends, and I wouldn't want that. I definitely don't want them being together sexually. But to see see their relationship outgrow the other stuff, like that stuff is always going to linger, right? Stuff with Glenn, but I really like the scene right here. With him explaining who the Croat is and how he came to know him and all that good stuff. I think that's really really good stuff. Great writing, great acting. I love the scenery. I love how dark and nasty. I think they're in a bathroom because that's where they got locked away by the survivors. And I just love the setting. I think it looks phenomenal. So anyway, we're gonna skip ahead a little bit. But that's essentially the scene. If you want to go back and watch it, please. This is a good episode. I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, if you can't tell already, I'm really liking the direction of this show, and honestly, I can go as far as to say this is some of the best stuff The Walking Dead has done in years. So this is the part that I was kind of, not really indifferent or whatever. But the marshal, he finds his apartment building, and you get this assumption that he knew the person that lived here. I don't know if it was his brother or what it is, but it was a good little scene that kind of humanized the quote unquote villain of the story. He's not really the villain, although I find him super intimidating. I like this guy a lot. as a character so far. I like his appeal. He looks tough. He looks physically imposing. There's a lot of things to like about his character. So I really like that. But you see him go through here, and it's a good emotional trip for him. Kind of going to this apartment and seeing things of old. He's looking for something particular, and I don't remember what it was. I know he ends up picking up a gun that I'm assuming like his brother or somebody, like right here that was in the case. He finds that gun laying by the corpse of a loved one, and I'm assuming it's his brother, but I don't think it's ever like for sure. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but good scene nonetheless. It kind of slowed the episode down a little bit, but I'm kind of glad they showed it. You got to humanize the villain a little bit. I don't. I've always liked that when they do that in stories, and he's an interesting character, and I hope that he doesn't die super quick. I hope he'll be around for a little bit because I like him. I really really like him. Right now, I like him better than the Croat. However, you haven't really seen the Croat all that much yet, so maybe when we see more of the Croat, we'll be I'll think differently on the subject. So anyway, so the survivors they take Negan and Maggie out, and they're getting attacked by some by some raiders. It seems like I don't. It could be people with the Croat. I'm not 100% sure on that. But they take Negan and Maggie out of their quote unquote bathroom cell or whatever you want to call it, and Negan and Maggie are like, look, you can trust us. We didn't bring these people here. And obviously they're not very trustworthy at first, but then you got these. I don't know if they're part of the Croats people. I'm not completely sure, and I'm sorry that I don't have all my facts in check. But they do give them the survivors that had once kidnapped Negan May. They do give them their knives back to help them fight these people off. Um, let's see. This is going up a stairwell to try to hide from the let's say the Ravagers or whatever. This was a pretty cool kill, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit when it happened, because it just looks so ridiculous. But I'm fine with it. I think it comes up right here. So pause, and then let's see. It's right here. She shoots him with this thing, and it's like it kind of reminds me of it's kind of like a harpoon gun almost. Is this a harpoon gun? Tell me where that's from. But it shoots him in the shoulder, and then she rips it out, and it's pretty gnarly kill. But it just made me laugh at first because it just seemed so ridiculous. But I'm fine with it. I expect ridiculousness a little bit in the Walking Dead shows now. So anyway, we'll go a little bit farther here. So you get here, and one of the soldiers or one of the Ravagers or whatever you want to call it has the homeless looking lady by the throat, and he's like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna kill her." Negan's trying to talk him down. He ends up stabbing her, and Negan doesn't take too kindly to this. Matter of fact, he punches the guy a few times, nails him on the ground. This dude's crying over her body. It's a very, very tense moment because they kind of have to get the hell out of there. Negan says, "I'll be right back. Y'all go ahead and go." And at this moment, I was kind of, honestly, I thought for a second they may take a big risk here. I didn't think they were going to do it, but I thought maybe for a second I was like, man, is this like the penultimate episode for Negan? I thought I didn't really know what to expect here, but it ended up being one of the coolest scenes with Negan in it. Period. And Negan told Maggie to leave. Maggie comes back to I guess see what he's up to, and it comes to the most badass scene ever. Knock knock. He bashes the guy's head in through the windows a couple times, and it very reminiscent of old Negan. Very old Negan. Very cool scene here, and yeah, I loved every second of it. He was charismatic as hell. I was gonna say charming. Negan's always had that charm about him, and it's a really good scene. And it reminds me of season 7, I think, like the mid-season finale where Negan kills Spencer. Kind of has that same scene here, and it was cool, man. Like he's sitting there, he tells the joke. He's picking on this guy with a neck beard and a rat tail. He said, like, I get it. The world goes to shit, and you just don't give a damn, with the way his hair and his rat tail looked. And that was a funny scene. But then what the best part is that comes up is he says, Yeah. He says, knock, knock, who's there? Butter, butter who? Better get an umbrella because it's about to rain. He slits the guy's throat. Blood goes everywhere. Super sick scene. Let me see if I can get it to go a little bit. We're going to have to kind of pause it. But, like, slits his throat, and then he freaking just guts him. And you just see blood go everywhere. And I'm like, this is what I've wanted for a while. And this is something that I've had, like I've had an issue with like post-apocalyptic stuff here, especially like with as big as the Last of Us TV show got. Like it didn't have anything like this, and this is what I'm talking about, right? This is a world that's so dark and heavy, and you got characters in the Last of Us just like Negan who were just as brutal. And this was awesome. This was awesome. You just see the blood go everywhere. But the part that sets the scene is is this before or after? So he says that he throws the guy's body over, and I think I've had it playing a little too long. But he throws the guy's body over, and then he looks back, and Maggie's standing there. And Maggie obviously sees a little bit of that old Negan back. But see, she's already looking at Negan like the monster he is. So her seeing him like this, it just makes her feelings tenfold. So we're still gonna get this, this bullshit feud between Negan and Maggie, especially between really with Maggie. Negan, I think Negan is sympathetic. Obviously, Negan knows what he did was bad. At this point, right? Like this is like, damn near 10 years later, right? Because this is like a 2-year time skip after the original Walking Dead. So Negan knows what he did was wrong at this point. But he had to channel that to be a distraction to let the other people away, and I liked it. I vibe with it, and it made sense, and it didn't feel out of character for him to do so. But obviously, it doesn't help. Maggie's cause here. What you just saw right there that I wasn't gonna skip over. I saw it as I was talking about finishing up the Negan Maggie scene. Is you see the mute girl, she gets on a dirt bike or something, and she just leaves the hilltop because she can't stay there anymore. So I'm assuming she'll find Negan and Maggie. I'm gonna try to turn my brain off with that because unless this girl's some expert, I was gonna say hacker, but expert tracker or something, how would she find Negan? There's like no possible way unless she knew of an exact place that he was gonna be at. But it seemed like to me the way this episode's going, everywhere they go, it's just kind of spontaneous. So I don't know. I'm trying to turn my brain off. If she ends up finding them, I'll just kind of just try to go with it. But this is the aftermath of the whole scene. Negan is meeting back up with the survivors that had him kidnapped. He's looking at his hand. It's all cut up because he ended up touching some glass. Dude, by the way, this shit sucks. I've stabbed my hand so many times in the past few months just washing dishes, dude. And I've broken many of glass jars and shit like that. So that left some emotional scars seeing that because I've maybe not to that extent, but I've been through that just recently. So anyway, so Maggie can't even look at Negan. She's distraught by what she just saw because it's too reminiscent. But I do like this scene, and this scene right here, and I don't want to play too long, but this scene right here is a good one because these survivors agree to helping Negan and Maggie with their mission to save her son. And it's a good scene. It's a good scene because these are people that they don't even know. And I think they're being affected by the Croat as well. So they're willing to do what they need to do to help Negan and Maggie out. So they're obviously, this will be good. Good build. Negan and Maggie have a little bit of a crew, so that'll be interesting to see. I don't know what's going on here. Where am I at in the episode? Okay, I'm right here. AMC Plus is trash, so I might skip around a little bit in this video. So you see some weird cuts. I was trying not to edit it, but I feel like I've been talking forever. And AMC is kind of not doing well with me right now. It's like if you go too far, the app doesn't know how to act. But if you go by too little, it just takes forever. You know what I mean? Like if you try to fast forward the video, now we only have a little bit of this video left, and this thing is not responding. Hold on, I might have to X out of this. Okay, so the last scene is of the marshal. I don't know if he jumps out of a window here. I don't remember. But you have these survivors. I think they do work for the Croat now I think about it. But um, the marshal, he's like right. I think he's hiding or something. They find him, and I think that's the last scene. So, and that kind of just it's supposed to be like a cliffhanger. Um, oh, there's the Croat right. The Croat was one wearing the helmet, and that's pretty much the episode. I'm sorry that last part was a little sticky there, but yeah. So look, I've been talking for a long time. So just to give you my general thoughts here, actually, let me see if I can fix this here so you can see me. There. So my final thoughts really. Sorry, I don't mean to be talking away from the microphone. My final thoughts really the episode. It was a really good episode. It had a lot of building to it. It was a good build. A good moment between Negan and Maggie. I love the sequence with Negan and Maggie in the bathroom, just kind of talking about the Croat and how Negan is associated with him. I thought that was really good stuff. I love the gore. The action is pretty well done. I love the kill by Negan. I think it's awesome. And it's just gonna add more drama to Maggie and Negan's relationship, which it's always interesting. But to see this whole like again, let's just keep throwing shit in Negan's face. It is getting a bit old. But look, all in all, I really like this episode, and I'm liking the show so far. So let me know your comments down below. I don't want to keep talking here because I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm being a bit much. So let me know what your thoughts down below. About what you think about the Walking Dead Dead City so far, and what you think about episode 2. I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait for next episode, and I'll try to get the review out a little bit sooner next time. I've just been busy. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and with that being said, stay dead, my friends. We'll see you soon.